All right. Hello, fifth grade. So excited to start our BizTown lessons with you. Now, like I told you when we talked about the intro about this program, really got to pay attention because after so many lessons, we're keeping our eyes out to figure out what businesses you might be working for, who might be the CEOs of those businesses. So really make sure you're paying attention, ask questions, get involved. Because like I said, at the very end of this, when we take our field trip, you're going to be running a little town on your own. And there's so many cool stuff that comes with it. So really make sure you get locked in and have fun. All right. So today's lesson is talking about citizenship, right? It's talking about community. Okay. So we're going to start teaching the basics of how to be a good citizen because again, in order to run a town, run businesses in a town, you got to have citizens, right? And you got to be good citizens. So we're going to talk about that today. All right. So again, we're going to learn about the meaning of being responsible and what actions responsible citizens do. Okay, so first think about imagine like our community as a building. So if you look at this building right here, if I go build a house, I'm not going to first see if I could hire someone to build my roof, right? Like, how am I going to build a roof without walls, right? How am I going to build walls without a floor? Why am I going to put a cement foundation in if I haven't figured out plumbing or electricity? So you got to start thinking about what's the steps to build a good, stable, sturdy community? You got to have the foundation, and there's a whole bunch of things that come into place to make a building, to make a house, right? So again, at the end of the day, we're all in it together. Think about just at Lincoln. You have our custodians, we have our teachers, we have our support staff, we have our principals, you students, right? Our bus drivers. There's a whole bunch of people that come in to making Lincoln a great school, right? So you've got to think about what am I giving to my community? All right, so when you think about what you're giving to your community, you start thinking about our character values, right? They're also called civic virtues. Civic means what we're doing for our community citizenship, right? And these are things, guys, be thinking about I want people to know me because I have these values. When you get in high school, this is huge, right? This is what colleges are looking for, sports teams are looking for, jobs are looking for. Right. So let's think about a foundation for a building. Obviously, I need a plumber. I need electricians. I need cement flooring, right? Before I even talk to my walls, right? Before I even talk to my drywall, my roofing, right? So you got to think about the basic first. So for number one, truth. That's one of the civic virtues we're talking about and thinking about. Again, truth. Next is responsibility. Then we have trust. Then you have honesty. If we are working on all four of these, we're in good shape. If you're I'm not the best on this, I forget my homework, I do this, then that's one you have to say, I have to do better on that. I could do better on that because this is what I could give to my community. Okay. So what does it mean to be a responsible citizen? Start thinking about that. What does it mean to be a responsible citizen? If you see trash on the ground as you're making your way to PE class, do you just walk past it? Or do we pick it up and throw in the trash can? Right? If you see someone with their hands full and they're trying to open a door, do you stop and help them? Or do you just, who cares? So think about what am I doing to be a responsible citizen? How am I helping? How am I giving? How am I making where I'm at better? Not just complaining about it, but making it better. Okay. So what do all these words have in common? School, town, family, faith group, club, friend group. What did we just talk about? Community. So when you think about community, probably the first thing we thought about was, okay, Chickasha. We're into a BizTown. We're in Chickasha. Yeah, that's a community. But you guys at Lincoln, you have your own school community. Middle school has their school community. My high school, we have our school community. And then within your school communities, you have your specific class communities, right? And then some of you guys who go to church, you have your church community. If I play sports, I have my sport team community, right? So you start thinking about all these little communities, your family, that's your community, right? So you start thinking about how am I a good citizen in every one of these communities? What am I giving to make all of these communities better? Okay, so what are some things these communities do, right? Obviously, we do things from providing educational services, helping people with maybe food, shelter, obviously paying taxes to make the community of Chickasha better, right? So we're going to do a quick little activity, right? So when you think about your school community, now there's only two of these that actually fit in each category. So when you think about all these actions, let me move my little face. When you think about all these actions, which of these two are school? Does a school pay taxes for government services? No. Do we cooperate to help people learn? Yeah. Do we organize activities and share interest? Yeah. Okay, so what's the next one? A town. What does a town do? Well, we definitely elect representatives to make decisions, right? We have our city council, our city mayor, right? What else? The town also pays taxes for government services. We're going to learn that as these lessons go on. In order for schools to operate the way they do, in order for us to get our roads fixed, in order for us to have certain programs around our community, it's taxes, right? It's sales taxes. That's why it's really important to tell your family, like, stay local, shop local, because we got to take care of Chickasha. The more money we put into Chickasha, the more that we can get out of it. All right, so the next one's family. Like, what do you do for what does your family or you bring to your family for community? Nope, not. Now they do provide guidance and support, but that's not one they chose, right? We cooperate, we help people learn. And we provide food, shelter, all that stuff. Now, again, I could be like, well, they also do this, we also do this, but this is just picking two at a time, right? Faith group. What do we do for our faith group? Well, they do a lot by charitable giving, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. What else do they do? They provide guidance and support. All right, clubs. I mean, you guys could see, we could just go down the line. Okay, so I'm just going to skip all that. Okay, so next, quick vocab. What does character mean? Think about your qualities, right? Are you responsible? Are you honest? Do you have patience? Are you kind, right? Those are your qualities. Now, every one of us have some awesome qualities, and every one of us have qualities we got to improve on. That's what we got to think about. How can I be better than I was yesterday? How can I be a better citizen in my family today? How can I be a better citizen in my classroom today? We all can get better at that. Okay. Obviously, citizens, that's the member of the group. Citizenship is the traits of that specific community, like what you're responsible for. Me as a teacher, what traits am I responsible for in order for Chickasha Public Schools to want to hire me? Okay. Civic virtues, we just talked about that. It's very similar to character traits. It's your attitude about things. It's your personal habits. Again, you see trash, are you going to walk past it? Or are you going to pick it up? Like, are you doing it just because people are watching you? Or look at me, I'm going to take a picture of me doing it so people know. No, you just do it because you just do it, right? You have a good attitude. Even if you're like, oh, I don't like this class, you have a good attitude about things. You know what? This teacher's trying to teach me something that I don't know. I'm going to be thankful for it. Okay. Community, again, that could be anything. Our school, your specific classroom, right? Your friend group. There's a whole bunch of communities. All right, this word right here, philanthropy, you're going to hear it a lot in our teachings. And one of our businesses is actually a philanthropy. A philanthropy is, think about like charities or nonprofit organizations. For example, if you think about like Habitat for Humanity, have you ever heard of that? That's an organization that builds houses for people who can't afford them. We have so many charities that they take donations and they're able to provide services and help to those who need it. Okay, so what are some rights and responsibilities of citizenship? So if you see the word up here, taxes, right? I'm responsible. If I'm a Chickasha citizen, I'm responsible to pay taxes to help my city. That's my responsibility. I also have rights to certain things. For example, you have the right to education. You live in Chickasha, you have the right to come to our schools. You have the right to go to the public parks, right? Those don't just come out of nowhere. Those are taken care of by public money, which I'm part of the public paying into it. That's also why I should make sure I'm taking care of it, because it's my money that's going into it, right? Okay, if you guys turn to page 49 in your book, you're going to see these three questions. It's called voluntary or required. So imagine we need to build a new school building. Okay, so we're going to build a new school building. Answer these questions in your citizen guide. So just on your own quietly, number one question, how should we raise the money for the new building? Does money just come out of Nowhere. Does it grow on trees? That would be awesome if it did, right? But it doesn't. So how do we raise money? The next question, what should we do if we don't have enough money to build it? We say, forget it. We got a whole bunch of new kids. We need more space. Do we just say, forget it? What do we do? And then do you think this is a good way to fund the town building? So however you said what we should do, is that a good way? So again, answer those questions. There's no right or wrong answer. It just gets you start thinking like, again, this is why it's so important to be good citizens and take care of what you have, right? Take care of our school buildings, take care of our parks, take care of our streets, take care of our property, right? Because if we don't take care of it, that's our money going into it. All right, if you need a little extra time, we'll have some time at the end, but we're going to go ahead and move on. Okay, so responsibilities of citizens, right? Obviously, it's people who work together, we pay our taxes. It's what I have to do to make my community better. All right, so you might have heard something called code of ethics. So if you play on like a sports team, there's a code of ethics. You got to make sure you have the right GPA. You got to make sure you're paying attention to class. You got to pay attention to coaches. If you don't do certain things, the coach could be like, we don't want you part of this team, right? Same thing in a job. If I don't show up on time, if I'm mean and hateful to people, they're going to say, Coach Goble, you're fired, right? So you think about code of ethics. It's how you should act in that community. And again, if you're just good people and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to have any problem. So obviously, code of ethics. Ethics means those are the standards. What's good, what's right, what's proper. We all know, what's right and wrong. We all know what's nice and what's not nice, right? So again, sometimes you might have to be like, put a break on it and say, maybe that's not nice to say. I'm not going to say that. Or maybe that's rude of me to do that. So start thinking about your actions, because I'm telling you, they start counting the older you get, right? It's not like we're 3 years old and we have to learn and have timeouts. No, we're old enough to know that's right and wrong. As the older you get, you could get in more trouble if you start doing the wrong things, okay? And again, in our BizTown, we don't want that. We don't want people not following what they should be doing. A contract is an agreement. So when I got hired to work in Chick-fil-A schools, I had to sign a contract. Pretty much, if I don't abide by the code of ethics, I could get fired, right? Same thing if I coach a team and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, I could say, you know what, go find another team because you're not making it on this one, okay? Obviously, rights is, we have a right to act in a certain way. Like we have the freedom. We live in the United States of America. We have certain freedoms, but we also have a lot of responsibilities. Again, what am I giving back? What am I doing to make my community healthier, safer, and more successful? Okay, go ahead and turn to page, I believe it's 51 in your book now. So if you turn to page 51, you guys are going to see right here at the top of the page, it's your contract. Guess what? In order to do this BizTown program and in order to go on the field trip and run your own town, you got to have a contract. This is your agreement to say, I'm going to do it. And if we notice, man, there's some things you're not doing, we're going to keep you in check on it. And we have the right to be like, nope, you signed a contract. If you're not going to follow the contract, then you can't be part of this program, right? So again, start thinking about like, how are you acting in your communities? What am I giving to them? So if you read the contract, go ahead and read it with me out loud and say it all together. As a citizen of JA BizTown, I promise to respect all citizens, be responsible and honest, tell the truth, work and take breaks at assigned times, help other citizens, stay informed and vote, obey the rules and laws of JA BizTown, pay taxes to JA BizTown. I promise to fulfill my duties as a citizen of JA BizTown. All right, now to make this official, write your name. If you know how to write in cursive, we need to start learning. That's how you do your signature. Write your first and last name. Whenever you sign something, it's first and last name. And then write today's date. That is making this contract official. So we're going to hold you true to this. Now, this shouldn't just be for BizTown. This should be in your classroom. This should be in your sports teams. This should be at your family, right? We should have these citizen type of contracts of what we're giving to that community. So go ahead and sign it. Like I said, first and last name, cursive's best. and then date it. All right, we're going to move on. Now, the bottom of that page is your voter registration card. So go ahead and start filling out. You could write this in printing. Your first name, your last name, your school address, your school address. You could just put Lincoln Intermediate School if you want. If you need to ask your teacher the address, go ahead. They could write it on the board to help you out. Are you a citizen of JA BizTowN? You're all going to put yes. And then same thing, date it and your signature, first and last name, hopefully in cursive. Now, this is your voter registration card. This is like you have a responsibility. Again, if I live somewhere and all I do is complain, what am I doing for it? What am I doing about it? Right? If I just complain, what am I giving to help the situation? One is if I'm voting, am I voting in people that value the same things I might value? Am I doing my part to help? Because if you're just going to complain and be negative, I mean, what are you helping? Nothing, right? So how are you getting involved? And one way is vote. Know what's going on around you, and you could be a part of the solution, not the problem. Remember that. Be part of the solution, not the problem. Okay. Again, we're going to move ahead. If you need time to go back, you'll have some time here in a second. Okay, so last thing we're going to do, if you guys turn your page to page 53, okay, we're going to do this together. Okay, so all but one of these words is going to fit, and we're going to do it together, right? So here we go. What does it mean to be a responsible citizen? A responsible citizen takes what when it is expected of them? Action. They take action when it's expected of them. They also pay what for government services? Taxes. We pay taxes. Other good characteristics of responsible citizens include being trustworthy, could be one. Honest could be one. And loyal. Now, again, I could add more: respect, kindness. Think about those good qualities, good virtues, right? Some community groups have a code of ethics that guides their behavior. It is a contract that people follow and hold each other accountable for following. So again, I'm a citizen of community. If I see other people in my community not following the code of ethics, not doing what they're supposed to be doing, I need to also help hold them accountable. So if you're in class and you see someone not listening or talking while the teacher's talking, I mean, again, don't make it even worse, but like maybe like, hey, we gotta listen, be respectful. Okay. Again, hey, you drop that trash, pick that trash up. We want our school nice and clean, right? Okay. They may also do acts of philanthropy. Remember, philanthropy is like service to others without expecting anything out of it. Service to others without trying to get money from it. Okay. They help people improve the community. JA BizTowN is a place where citizens are expected to act responsibly. Okay. So again, at the end of the day, start thinking about what are some ways that you can be a responsible citizen, not just as we're learning BizTowN, but how are you using these characteristics in your classroom? How are you using them in your school, in the lunchroom, at PE, in specials? How are you using them when you're on the bus, on your sports team, at home, at church, when you go to the park, like with your friends? How are you using them? Because I told you guys at the end of the day, like this is what people know and remember you for. And you want to get that job one day, you want to get a college scholarship, you want to play, varsity football. What do you want to do? I'm telling you right now, you have these characteristics. I'll teach you how to play football. I'll teach you how to throw a softball. We'll teach you how to write the best college essays to get in the best schools. We'll teach you all that, right? But it comes down to, do you have those qualities that people actually want to help you with, right? That sounds pretty brutal, but I'm being honest, okay? So start working on being responsible citizens now, okay? That's it for today. So next time, we will jump into lesson 2, all right? If you have any questions, your teachers are able to help you. If it's something they don't know the answer to, you could always reach out to me, and I'll see you guys next time.